Well, LCS is kicking off in just a couple of days, but it is Media Day, and I'm joined right now by Weldon from CLG with coverage brought to you by Alienware. Weldon, so many people right now are like, what? CLG did make 80 roster changes? That was, I guess, the general assessment I saw whenever news came out from you guys that you guys weren't going to be doing any trades. So maybe you can help shed some light on why you guys decided to commit to this roster, even with the poor performance that we saw from the team in spring.
Well, we did make a roster change. We just made it early. We made it last split
Okay.
in the middle. We decided not to wait for the offseason. So that was our first roster change. And yeah, I think that what we want to work on is our team synergy and our team chemistry, our team performance. I don't think that, like, if you take the individual skill of all these people and add it together, I don't think that we came anywhere close to that cumulative sum at all. And I think it was, all of our faults, coaching, staff, players, org, maybe. And hopefully we can do a lot better reaching our ceiling.
Well, what are your expectations for this team going into summer? Because I think a lot of people will want to know what you're defining success as for the team, especially given the rough start in spring.
Well, the corporate CLG wants to see consistent playoff performances. Players are not really happy unless they're winning everything, and it's the same with coaches. So our ambition, we actually talked about it this morning in the team meeting, was clarifying our ambition to win the split. After some scrimmages with C9, everybody knows kind of where the bar is, and making sure that everybody was still committed, like eye to eye on jumping over that bar, being like, yeah, we plan to be better than this team by the end of the year, and beating them in a finals, like, is really important that everybody believes that they can pull that off.
I mean, I think a lot of people will hear you say that and say that, oh my God, that's a really high bar. Like, it's good that you guys know where the bar is, but not very many people could vault over a 2-story building, which is potentially what you'll need to do given how they seem to be manhandling the rest of the teams in the league.
Alternatives, right? The other bar could be like, we want to get out of groups at Worlds. That seems kind of preemptive.
Yeah.
And the other would be like, we want to not be awesome. And that's kind of lame. So
yeah. I guess that's one way of looking at it for sure. Looking at the team, what are you guys doing differently in summer to make sure that you don't see the same results that you saw in spring?
Well, if you're looking at just the micro stuff, just day to day, we are, for example, watching VODs now from other regions as a team, and taking us, like, having in-depth conversations about that. We have a lot of vision in the team now that everybody speaks pretty much the same language, and so our team building is more or less through the roof. Over the off season, we played a lot of Warcraft 3. Now we're not doing the Warcraft 3 so much. We're doing.
What is up with FlyQuest also told me they played a ton of Warcraft 3. I don't know why Warcraft 3 custom maps. I assume they were custom maps, yeah.
Remastered came out.
What's that?
And this
Oh, I know Remaster came out. It's funny. Also, maybe point your microphone a little bit closer or something, because I'm losing you a bit at times. But you guys were playing the custom games, I assume?
Yeah, lots of tower defense, some werewolf, games where you can try to, games that involve teamwork.
Okay.
Those were.
Nice. Okay, so less of that now. Oh, I lost you there. What were you saying?
I said we have some teamed up tower defense, and I was with Trevor on one.
Okay, gotcha.
He cared.
So now no more Warcraft 3, but I mean, I assume fans will want to hear you're doing more than just. I mean, I guess you said you're working on the team building and stuff, but people are going to be like, Warcraft 3, that's the secret. G2, I think their secret is World of Warcraft. So you guys are maybe a decade behind on them.
Yeah, well, we figure Warcraft 3 is closer to Dota, which is closer to pure League of Legends than World.
That's true. They are both top-down games. Other than that, looking at the other teams, you guys have been doing some scrims. I assume you were going to say C9 is, most likely to be up there, hopefully with you guys. But any other teams that are really standing out to you?
I think as expected, everybody seems to be kind of like performing as you would expect by their last season performance and what you see on paper.
Okay.
Yeah. Backless really strong. Who else have we played? Yeah, I personally am less excited about the teams because there's really no like changes there that are wild as far as what I would expect from the norm, and more excited about some of the performances I've seen from some of the rookies that stepped up from Challenger, like last year and this year. So I've been watching some of the players in scrims who didn't used to contribute as much to their team, and now they're just making plays and they're carrying games and they're being played around, and they're being consistent and kind of doing the right thing all the time instead of most of the time. And you can tell because you used to hear our pros talking about, oh my god, this guy's so bad, and oh my god, I can't believe he's doing this, and that is happening less and less with these new players. So it appears that some players are finding their footing.
That's good. I mean, I think a lot of the fans have been critical of certain rookies. So if you're saying that we're starting to see a lot of them start to step up, I feel like that's probably good for the league. So.
Yeah, that's exactly the point I was trying to make, is that it feels optimistic for NA rookies to see how the impressions that the other pros who play against them have is no longer like, this guy has no clue, and it's more like, oh, this guy's making out plays.
Yeah.
Once you get to that point, you kind of like have gone through all the learning pains and you're ready to make waves.
Yeah. Well, I'm excited to see what CLG has in store. Is there anything that you want to say to any of the fans out there?
Stick with us.
Well, looking forward to seeing how summer goes. Thank you so much for the interview, and I appreciate your nice setup. It's a little different than, it's funny interviewing a married father compared to some of the pro players I've been interviewing, because you just seem to have a little bit of a nicer setup behind you than perhaps the blank white wall with a bed. It's kind of funny.
Yeah. I make my bed every day. I think that's the first step. And yeah, my wife also takes business calls in this room, so we had to set up something nice in the background.
Yeah, well, it looks good. Well, thank you so much for the interview, and for everyone else, you can check out the rest of my coverage of all things esports right here on my YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching that interview. I hope you enjoyed it. It's so good to be getting back into the swing of things again for summer 2020. Now, I want to give a shout out to Alienware and Draft Buff for sponsoring this interview. By the way, speaking of Draft Buff, you can actually go sign up for their stuff right at draftbuff.com. There's a link in the video description below. It helps me out. Use the referral code Travis Gafford when you get there. It's fantasy drafting, all right? There's no gambling. There's nothing like that. It's what Riot used to do, but better. So if you've missed the chance to play fantasy in the past, you can do that now. Full fantasy leagues, but also something called Draft Royale, which are limited towards limited time. So for opening weekend, you can compete against me and Mark Zimmerman in a hotline league draft royale that we've constructed. I've already built out a team. Here's a shot of it. You can take a look at Mark's as well. But go sign up, compete, see if you can beat our scores and maybe some other people, and really prove it to yourself that you have what it takes. Thanks so much for watching.